Welcome to Soul Sync. There it is. There she is.
Hello, everybody,
Hello.
and welcome to Soul Sick Bitches.
Back at it again. Another week. How's everyone doing?
Dude, I'm great. I'm super excited for our topic today. How are you doing, Queen?
I'm doing fantastic.
I
You
know,
know, it's Wednesday.
I know. And we have to catch up today. For those of you guys who don't know, last week we had to do a little adjust because us two business owners were just a little busy. Last week was a crazy week for me. So we didn't get our like best friend catch up. We just did the podcast. So today we talked extra long. We had a lot to catch up on.
Yes, we did, which I also love. Just the more the merrier. But you'll hear in whenever that podcast comes out that I am like literally on crack. Like, I don't know what is going on, but when we record later in the day, maybe I was sleepy or something. It was time for my nap. I don't know what, but I could not get it together. So you'll hear that in our podcast, and it's a funny one. It's like you learn, it's all good things for the soul, but also you're gonna laugh at the same time. So
Probably will. We were not prepared for that. Like usually we get all of our thoughts, all of our ducks in a row, and the giggles were just taken over. Like,
yeah, our thoughts, our ducks were all over the place, and we did the best we could. So I don't know. It's gonna be one of my favorite podcasts. I can already tell.
I agree. And I love it because it just shows our authenticity. Like we're not trying to be normal. We're not trying to be perfect. Like we're just being ourselves and we're putting out the best that we possibly could in the moment. And we showed up anyway. Like we found time in our very busy schedules and it was a great time for me. I mean, I loved it. So I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, no, me too, for sure. And you know what? That just goes to show like we just trust that whatever we do is going to be enough.
We
Enough
got
for us,
it.
enough for our audience, enough for each other.
Mhm.
Which, why does that sound like it rings a bell, Miss Sammy?
Bitch, because that's what we're talking about today. Oh my God, wait. I love that I got that little ding. Spirit's like, yes, queens, talk about this topic. But, Taylor and I, one thing that we've been talking about a lot is just how the year is wrapping up. And this is something I always teach my clients is going back and looking throughout the year and seeing what did you do? What did you accomplish? How have you changed? How have you grown? And we did an episode. It was episode 22. Trust what you do is enough. If you guys want to go ahead and pause this, watch that one before listening. Totally 10 out of 10 recommend doing that if you haven't listened to it yet, just because you're going to see where we were at then. And now we're going to talk about what was the result of trusting what you did was enough. What did we accomplish since we did that episode back in July? And how have our lives absolutely changed? And you're only going to get the like dramatic effect of like, wow, these bitches up leveled if you go back and listen to that episode.
Yes. Oh my God. It's personally one of my favorite episodes too. I just feel like there are so many goodies in it and just a lot that you can learn from it. And even now, like, how many months ago was July? Let's see, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, so 5 short months, it's almost half a year. It's like when you trust in yourself and when you just fully go into it and just like catapult towards your dreams and you know you're going to get it and you know you're going to accomplish these things, like 5 months is not that long, you know? We're kind of here today giving you a part two of like the results of all of that and all of these actions and just like us being firm and believing in what we say to you guys and actions matching up with our words. So, Sammy, what is the update with your life? What are these results, things that you've been talking into existence since July?
I feel like it's so fucking much. I mean, to the point where you were like, how many months is that? And I was like, six. And it was totally five. A strong suit. My math teacher used to be like, yeah, you got that answer wrong because you're blonde. Rose eyes. No, deadass, he did do that.
What? Fired. Why
I
is he?
know. I know. But now it makes a funny story, because there was some truth to it. I can be a little ditz sometimes, but I like it, and I like that about myself. So if I think about like all of the things I accomplished, it's just like my world has completely, tremendously changed. Like looking back at what episodes we had done around that, it was a lot of me navigating being freshly like single on my break because at this time I didn't tell anyone about what had happened with me and my ex-partner Tom. I really just was in my own space, in my own healing, and I had no idea where I was going to turn to. I knew I wanted to move to Austin. And I knew that a lot of my friends I had just met this year were there, but I didn't know what that was necessarily going to turn into. And that's why we were really talking about like, we need to trust that the work we're doing is enough because when it comes to the unknown, there's nothing that can just shake that like kind of like anxiety feeling. You don't know what's going to happen. I am such a person that I love to be in control. And it's something I've really been working through of allowing, like, I don't need to have control. I can just trust. I can just believe. I can have faith and allowing that to kind of like empower me rather than like, succumb to that anxiety. But I feel like so much has just changed since I've been living in Austin for 6 months now because I moved here in June. And I feel like I've just really found where I call home right now. I moved across the fucking country with my fur babies. I was so scared about that drive. Do you remember that? Like, I used to bring up the 20-hour drive all the time. I was fucking petrified to do something like that. And now I'm so excited to do more things like that. I have such an amazing community. Like, I'm so grateful for my friends here. I can't wait for you to come, Taylor, and just like, hang out with all of us. But it's so fun. The past couple of weekends, I've been getting together with my two besties here, which is Michaela and Rachel. And we've just been doing like a fun things together, Last weekend, we watched Crazy Rich Asians and we just had like a little nacho night. And then we did an arts and crafts night where we like painted some like glasses. And then for New Year's, we're gonna have like a New Year's party. And after that, on the 4th of January, we're gonna make these wreaths and you can put like dried oranges, you can put specific herbs like cinnamon that really help with like prosperity and wealth. And you can write intentions on them and in them. So we're going to take like what we're setting for our New Year's goals for 2025 and we're going to put it in the read. So it's like just so fucking nice because especially at that time when we had recorded this episode, I was completely alone. Like I didn't really make too many friends in Charleston, which is totally my responsibility. And I don't think I was like the person I wanted to be to call in the friends that I wanted or to maintain those types of friendships because honestly, everything was just going to my business and that relationship at the time. But I really feel like within these past 6 months, I've found my community. And the biggest reason why is because I found myself. I was just telling Taylor, I used to be so afraid to be alone, but I've been listening to Alone by Doja. Is that how you say her name? Doja Cat?
Oh yeah.
Like she my best friend. She a real bad bitch at Taylor. But I've been
Hey.
listening to that song and like I honestly love being alone. Like I love going to the beat of my own drum. I love being able to do whatever I want. I love only having to worry about myself, my emotions, my healing, my business. Like I am definitely in my Sammy era, especially fitness wise. Like, oh my God, guys, I just finished 75 hard phase 2. Like I'm done with the third phase out of 4, and there's nothing more I can do this year. Like I finished 75 hard for the year because I can't start again until February of next year, so that my last day ends on the day I started. So that's how you do like the whole year is kind of like, around the sun. Wow, I'm ending on the day that I fucking started. So I'm done with 75 hard for the year and I just feel so good overall. Like in every area of my life, I feel so grateful, so blessed. And I think most importantly, I just feel so at home within myself. and my own energy. And that's something that I'm turning 26 fucking next month. In 26 years, this is the first time I've felt this way about myself. Like I've done the self-love journey, I've done my weight loss journey, and I do feel like we're here to learn and to grow. So we're always going to be doing these things and unveiling things about ourselves, learning about ourselves. But I've never had this sort of just like comfort within my own energy and just with being alone. I was always so scared to do that. So I think that would be like my biggest win ever, is just knowing that I could do whatever the fuck I want.
Girl, fucking yes. Oh my God. Ain't that the truth? That's like the most important thing, like the most valuable lesson that any woman can learn, I feel like. And we all kind of get there at one point in our lives of just like the beauty and the magic of like what being in your own energy can look like for you. And when you utilize that in a certain way, you just like you heal, like you give yourself so much love and so much time and patience and like understanding just to be able to like learn yourself even and like what are you about and what do you like, what do you not like, and I don't know, there's so much magic to that. So I've been there before and it was like one of my favorite eras in life ever, I gotta say, because when you love your own solitude and your own energy and you love being in your own energy, it's like the most amazing magical place to be. So I'm so fucking happy to hear that. Like, oh, I don't know, that just made me so happy.
Thank you. Thank you. And I am too. I definitely feel like I'm in a great phase of life where like I can show our listeners all these sides of myself. Because like if you guys go back and you're listening to around the time where episode 22 was, like Tom and I had just decided we wanted to take our break late April. Like, I was a fucking wreck. I was so heartbroken for months and months and months. And I was really like putting back the pieces together to my soul. Like when I made that decision, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Like, I literally took my world and fucking crashed it down because he was a part of everything that I thought that I wanted. But now I'm in this stage where I just get to focus on what I want and what I want as a person and what's going to make me happy as a person and the true partner that I want to go with that. And that's not something I'm looking for, anytime soon. But if it came in, then I would be open to it. So it's like just healing what I need to heal so that I can show up for myself and therefore show up for the people who are actually meant to be in my life. Because whoever's meant to be there, I truly believe will be there. So I just have to do my part. I'm trying new things, like going horseback riding, which is what I did yesterday. And my inner child was so happy. And I was talking to one of the girls about possibly learning more about horses, going by her family's horse farm and learning more about how to take care of them so that my manifestation when I'm older one day, I do own a horse and I do take care of it. And I do have that relationship because I've always been obsessed with horses. So, like, this is just like a huge inner child goal of mine. Or like going skydiving, that was something I always wanted to do. It was on my bucket list, but I was too scared. I was like, I don't know if I could actually do that. Or just traveling and going to new places and meeting new people. I'm just learning new things about myself through these actions that I'm taking. So I really do believe that this time in life is so pivotal and you have to fucking take advantage and you have to enjoy it. And it just makes so much sense why earlier this year in like January, February to April till when I made my decision, my soul was craving this. It was because I hadn't unlocked parts of myself yet that needed to be unlocked for me to be my highest potential. And that's really, if we're thinking about like what is the result of trusting what you do is enough, it's like listening to your intuition, doing these things for your greatest and highest good every single day, and trusting that you're going to come into that alignment with yourself because you're doing these things.
Oh my God, yes. And it's wild because I just looked up at the time and my time, it's 11:11. And the way my like Zoom is set up, it's like Sammy's face is like right next to the time. So it was just cool to be like, oh my God. And yes, the universe agrees with that. Fucking preach, girl. I cannot like I love that so fucking much.
Universe, I wish that Soul Sync gets 1 million downloads.
And we will. We're gonna get 1.11 million.
Yes. Okay, now what were you saying?
I think like there's such a beauty to like, because you know how we're always talking about like setting goals and like what our future is looking like and like what we're gonna manifest for ourselves and things to come. But like rarely do we touch on looking backwards. And I know sometimes it can be, discouraging to do or something that people don't want to spend any energy in the past, which like I totally understand. And I'm like one to preach that too. Like your past is just a story. And once you really realize that, you understand that it can no longer affect you, like the future is where we're looking. The future is where you build your life up and where things change. So it's really cool to be able to have, even if it's like a journal or some type of connection with your past self in that way of just being like, I mean, for example, the podcast that we had, episode 22, and being able to listen to that or watch it and be like, okay, these are the things that we were going through and manifesting. These were the energies we were in during this. And to just kind of have that little roadmap of like where things went from there. And we're so like fully trusting of manifestation. Like we know what it has brought into our lives. And basically, all of our wins, I gotta say, are because we believed in ourselves and we trusted in the process. And we were just so like, I know this works. Like, I know we can do anything we want in this life. And just having a podcast and having it be 50, almost 50 episodes deep, like, this in itself was something that we manifested just on a whim one day. And we were just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, why are we not going to do this? So, it really just goes to show, like, looking in the past and kind of like going back in time to be like, you know what? This happened so that this could happen so that I can be exactly where I am today, right now, in this time. And it's so, overused and you hear it all the time, but everything really does happen for a reason. And if you have a little roadmap like this where you can trace it back and you can be like, oh my fucking God, like it just makes it even more sweet in a way. So, that's why this is a follow up kind of part two to trusting what you're doing is enough because we did. And we're telling you that, like, this is where we're at now. And it's just really incredible to see. So, some, I guess, updates with my life since July and since having that first part one episode is mostly like within the business. I feel like I can't remember exactly when the idea came to fruition of opening the business. And I wish I can. We were talking about it right before and I was like, "Oh my God, I should know this date like the back of my hand, like when we came up with the idea, you know what I mean? Like anniversary wise or whatever." But I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know." It was probably around that time where we were in a coffee shop just having a normal conversation and like we just came back from a hot yoga class, like all three of us, and I was like, yo, like when my favorite song came on in the yoga class, like I just had so much energy from this one song because it's not one that you usually hear in a yoga class. And it was a Royal Otis song and it was kind of like slow, but a little more upbeat. And I just got so hyped from it. And I was like, yo, how cool would it be if they had like yoga classes that you can kind of have like I don't know, like themed music days or like different types of music or more modern types of things, and people can hear their favorite song and do like whatever. And this whole idea for the business was kind of like born at that time. And it started as just such a small simple conversation, and to look at it now, like we've been going to events. We were at some holiday bazaars this past weekend, and yeah, exactly, it is exciting. It's like so crazy, like construction is up and running. We finally have like the foundation of all the walls inside. So you can actually see like each room and how big it's going to be and like where everything's going to go. So we're kind of like mentally
Oh,
planning in that way. What?
I need photos. Give me updates. Oh my gosh, I'm manifesting this with you.
Yes, girl. Honestly, I didn't get photos yet because I haven't been there yet since the walls have been up. But Tyler FaceTimed me and he was like, dude, this is becoming so real. Like, it's so insane. So, that in itself, I feel like is so huge for us of just like, look at how this is really coming to life. Like, it's, yes, it's like a business, but it's like a physical place that you are watching being created, being born. And it's really cool because the past two events that we just had over the weekend were we were setting up like little pop-ups at places and you could see our vision kind of like a little taste, a little trial of like our vision coming to life. And we had like such boho vibes and we had the massage on one end and the yoga on the other. And it was just like it's so cool to see that this is all like really happening in like full swing right now. So I know. So I don't know, looking back and being like, yeah, like we're starting it, but we don't know to like some solid like proof of like what's going on. Huge. And then another thing within my massage career and like my passions, like I just noticed back in July, I would talk about like how I wanted all these different certifications and how I was really like, I only know, a select number of modalities and there are so many out there and I want to just like dip my toe into everything and just kind of like learn everything to now I have a certificate. I'm fully certified to perform prenatal massage, which is huge because I didn't realize how like complex it is, but it's amazing. So prenatal massage, I'm certified in cupping and cupping with movement, which is really, really cool. Which is something I wasn't really great at in school, was like the physiology part of it. But like now I'm like, I don't know, like learning so much. And then I'm taking a couple business classes, which is awesome too, because that's something I wouldn't have done if, the business wasn't really starting. And if I was still working at my last job, I was just kind of stagnant and like, I'm an employer, like my boss is killing it, but like I just do what I do. So just running full force into my passion, and it's really cool to see like everything that's coming out of it so far, like since quitting my job and being unemployed and just going headfirst into this whole journey. Yeah, I think honestly that's the most updates, like the biggest part that has changed in my life is like the updates with my career. And more to come, like this is part of the roadmap right now, like this episode that we're on. So it's like, who's to say there's not going to be a part three and we're both of us are going to be like, yeah, we're fucking killing it. But bet your ass we're going to be manifesting that. So
I know, honestly, I feel like part three would need to be in maybe August of next year, just because like June is going to be when I'll be having their treat and you'll be coming here. And then
yeah.
I'll be going to Greece with Michaela, which will be so exciting, either in July or August. So I feel like right after that, I want to like come here and have like the skin like glowing, tan vibes, hair just looking like a motherfucking mermaid, and be like, part three, guys, I'm a fairy.
I'm dead. I know. I am 100% down for that, considering how pasty a girl is looking these days. Sammy's got like the beautiful light on her. I'm sure it's like one of like the yellow lights, not like the fluorescent ones in like an office space, or is it like a white light?
It's white. I wonder if I
Shit.
can turn it yellow though. That's a great idea. Thank you. I do wonder if
Maybe.
I mean I paid $100 for this spring light, so it better change other
It
colors.
better be yellow. Better have options. But
Yeah.
no, you're just tan as it is. Miss Texas over here.
Oh my God.
Um, it's just crazy. Like you're so right in what we're gonna like what our lives are gonna look like then, like to even think about. So we're just going full force. Like there's no stopping our trains, okay? We're just chugging along.
Yeah. And I feel like, this is to say, like, there has been hiccups over the time, like, that Taylor and I talk every single week before we start recording. And it's like, there has been some times where I've been on the phone with her just being like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this right now. Like, right now, the grief feels really hard, or right now I'm feeling a little anxious about X, Y, and Z. I really do want to point out that just because you're trusting what you do is enough doesn't discredit how hard that could feel, right? And it doesn't discredit the obstacles that can come up, because sometimes life is going to throw you a curveball or something is going to happen and during the time you're not going to understand why. But then later you can look back and be like, I had to do that, like in April when I first did what I did, like I knew that I had to be alone, but I didn't understand why. And just because I knew that I had to make that decision, it did not make it any fucking easier, But what did help was just continuing to think about what I wanted and really continuing to embody the person I wanted to be. And I can like wholeheartedly say that I've done that every single step of the way, even when I've slipped up a little bit and maybe I like ate something that I was like, ooh, you know what? I probably could have done without. Or maybe my intuition told me to do something and I was like, no, I don't feel like doing that. And then I didn't listen. Like there were times like that, but it's like 99% of the time I was choosing the best option for myself at the time. And I was following my intuition and I was just very trusting that every single little thing I did throughout my day was going to be enough to my really big result. But we need to remember that, like, Taylor and I, we talked about a lot of categories in our lives. We talked about our businesses, we talked about our relationships, we talked about our friendships, we talked about our health and our fitness, we talked about our education and how we're learning. These are all very different aspects of life. And just because you're trusting what you're doing is enough doesn't take away from the action you need to take in order to get there. Right? Like Taylor had to show up to the classes in order to get her certifications. I had to sell all of my furniture and pack up my car and drive 20 hours in order to move to Austin. Like there were still things we had to do that didn't necessarily feel that easy at the time. But now I can look back and be like, oh, that shit was easy. I definitely could do it again. I have two very different perspectives on it since we had made that first episode. And, I wasn't 100% in this energy of like, very excited for the move or very this, but now I look back and I'm like, I'm so fucking grateful. Like, I'm grateful I trusted my intuition telling me to come to Austin. Like, I had no reason to really come here. I met friends, but I literally met them 2 months before. And now they're some of my best fucking friends. I see them all the time. So, you have to just, play with everything and just kind of see what you get and just work with what you have. And then whatever you end up like making out of that, whether it's a cake, whether it's brownies, maybe it's a banana bread, Can y'all tell I'm hungry? Whatever it is you create is gonna be so worth it. And you have to like take time, like we are within this podcast, to really reap the rewards and be like, oh my God, these results are amazing. Like, I just want to hold a lot of gratitude for this right now.
Oh my God, that just spoke to me so much, especially the banana bread part. I too have a sweet tooth.
If you guys
Um,
get a little healthier, just add protein to all of those options, okay? Use some egg whites. That's awesome. There's ways you can do it.
oh my God, I fucking love it. We're giving you some cooking advice, some fitness advice too. You're getting this for free, people. You better subscribe.
You're welcome.
You're welcome in advance. You don't get this shit for free these days. No, but I think you're so, so right. Um, Maybe it's time, if you haven't really looked back at how far you've come in life and on your journey, to give yourself a little bit of credit. And maybe this is your sign also to be like, where have I been? Where was I even in the last 6 months, let's say? Like, what were you doing in July and June? Where were you at with your goals? When did you set your goals? And just kind of see and look back and just peek at like how far you've come and celebrate it. Like 6 months doesn't sound like that long, or maybe it does. I don't know. But to me, it doesn't sound like that long of a time to like achieve a goal. Like, I feel like things have just been full speed ahead for us, which is really exciting and really, really cool. So it's like, just think about like if things are happening this fast, like where you're going to be in the next 6 months. And I think we definitely have to have a part 3 and just take note of your own life too. I think that's like my advice to send off to people today is just like look back and celebrate. And even like the shit in the middle. Like you said, like it wasn't all butterflies and rainbows. Like there was a ton of shit that happened for both of us and like things we had to work through, things we had to grow through. And growing pains can be very uncomfortable and have very uncomfortable conversations with people and things that you have to bring up that you didn't want to. And it's a lot and it's just life, but you when you look back, it's when you really notice why those things were so important and why they had to happen. So it kind of gives you that confirmation in the same way of like anything that you're going through that's bad right now, like just know there's an underlying reason to it. And you might not be able to see it right now and you might not be able to trust that, but in the future, you will see it very clearly and it will all make so much sense. So just keep holding on if you're in that type of position right now, and just know that it's not forever. And I think if I could have told myself one thing, like way back in the day, it would probably be that. And just like, just keep holding on because one day you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, damn. Think about the lotus flower, Miss Sammy. It grows through the mud, like all the muck, you know?
Agree. I totally agree. And I feel like this is a great way to end it too, because with when this podcast is going to be released, because you guys know we're over fucking achievers. So if you're ever weirded out about the timeline, it's because we have so much fun recording that sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves in the timeline. Um, but you guys are going to be hearing this episode after the new year. And I know 2 years ago, I was at a point where I was like, I want to go all in on my business. I want to move across the country. There were a lot of things that I wanted to achieve within that year. And I went to Taylor in February and I was like, oh my God, I feel so overwhelmed. How am I going to do this? I don't understand how. And I ended up doing that and more. Like, on top of that, I fucking manifested my dream car that year. There were so many things that I had called in, but I really was feeling very similar to what Taylor was just describing. And I think doing this practice, especially because when you guys listen to this, you're most likely going to have your goals set for July, right? And you could have one of two realizations. You could be like, oh my God, I feel like these are really big. And you could be feeling a little overwhelmed like I was, or we could be inspiring you to you're like, wow, I need to think bigger. Like I need to go big or go home because I was going a little small on myself and you have inspiration through this. But I would really encourage you to, since you already set your goals, read through those goals and evaluate that. Like, how do I feel about these goals? What are my thoughts coming up? If you need to go bigger, write down the bigger goals. And then I want you to do this practice of looking back at the last year and picking up really amazing wins that you might have manifested. So, like, some for mine, just with my clients alone, is like one client joined my program and she literally got a job opportunity for a completely different department that she really, really, really wanted. And she lost 34 pounds in 4 months. Another client, she joined my program and then she also, same type of thing. She's a physical therapist. She was working in the hospital, but she really wanted to work with sports in particular. She got a job opportunity and she got the job and she got a ring on her motherfucking finger. Okay. So these are all really big wins. I mean, another one of my clients, she moved because she works in New York and she was manifesting a apartment in New York. And not only has she moved there as of last month, but she also is going to a dream gym that she gets to walk to. And she's so excited about that every single day, you know? So just think about what are some big things that you did this year. And just think about what comes up to mind first. Because I think sometimes we can beat ourselves up and think, well, this doesn't really feel like a win. This might not be big enough, blah, blah, blah. But like, even if it's that you got rid of a ton of clothes, you donated your clothes and you upgraded your closet, it could be whatever it is. It could be that you're more structured. Maybe you were in a really feminine energy and you were really struggling to use your calendar. And now you're getting all of your tasks done. Like one of my clients, Nicole, she has a power list she has the same spiritual coach that I do, Amanda, which is awesome because she's in Lotus Lifts for all of the personal training things. But then Amanda gets to really work with her one-on-one on the spiritual. And Nicole was actually one of my girls that she struggled with just the structure. She could get her stuff done, but like following a calendar was really uncomfortable for her. So now she's been doing the power list and she's been doing her tasks every single day. And she feels so much more secure with that side of herself, you know? So you guys can really branch out and see what these wins are and then apply those wins as proof of like, I can manifest this because that's exactly what I'm doing finishing this year. Like, for example, I manifested two things that I really wanted to manifest this year. So one of them was I went horseback riding, which was huge. Like that's something I've always wanted to do. It was so much fun. I did that multiple times this year. So that to check off my vision board. And then I also manifested a camera. So I've really been wanting a camera, but I've been putting it off just being like, no, I'm gonna like put my money here for this investment, or this is going towards the bills, this is going towards the pets. Like I've been very practical with it. So I haven't like spent it on anything like a camera. And my brother ended up buying it for me for Christmas, you know? Or for example, my last manifestation that I really wanted to accomplish before the year end was go to Alpha Land. It's one of the biggest gyms in the world and it's in Houston, which is 3 hours away from me. So I've been geeking out. I've been wanting to go so bad. And we are going next week. We had to reschedule and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it. I wasn't even butthurt. I was like, I trust that we're going to go before the end of the year. And I'm literally going next week. So I've been taking all of those signs as proof that when I'm setting my 2025 goals, I'm like, well, I just manifested this, so I'll definitely manifest this, you know? Or even some things, there's like a couple other things that I've been working on in the background for myself. And it's like, okay, well, I've been manifesting this. So I know because I just accomplished X, Y, and Z that this is going to work out too, you know? So really take your wins and apply them to your new goals as proof that you can fucking achieve them. And if that doesn't make you want to dream bigger, you're not feeling the proudness, you're not celebrating hard enough, and you need to have like a dance party or something just to really hype yourself up and pat yourself on the back and be like, yeah, badass, like you did that.
Oh my God, I feel fucking lit right now.
Yes, I did my job.
Literally, like, or pop a bottle of champagne, like, whatever you gotta do to
Literally.
celebrate that. Mm-hmm.
You could even do what Taylor and I did. And like, this is, you know, for the podcast, but like, we got this idea by talking about our wins in the first place, you know? So call your best friend and be like, hey, I really want to intentionally think about all of these things that I accomplished. Let's go back and forth and just be win for win for win. And did you guys see how I was hyping up Taylor about the business? Like, that's not just for fucking show. Like, I'm genuinely so excited for her. Like, I literally have been telling everyone that I'm flying home for her grand opening. Like, I'm going to be in there like swimwear. Like one of the things that I was manifesting too that I got was her yoga mat. Like I just wrote down that I really wanted to support her and get the ebb and flow yoga mat. And she was like, what? What?
It's right here. You see that little box right there? I'm sad.
So much rain. Can I give you the biggest hug?
See this little box?
I'm so excited. See, guys, it could come out of the blue. I didn't even know that.
Not to spoil any surprises or anything, but
Yay! Oh my God. Well, I can't wait because I'm seriously like just so excited. And this is the energy you have to get yourself in. And it's okay. Sometimes you're not going to always feel this way, but just go back and remember what you did manifest. Even if it was a year ago, even if it was 2 years ago, those still count as proof, you know? And just hype yourself the fuck up.
oh, I fucking love it. That's your homework today, people. Hype yourself the fuck up.
Yeah, you have a lot of homework. Listen to the last 15
Yeah.
minutes.
I know you guys better be taking notes. You got like a whole to-do list of shit to do. So it's all for the best though.
And it's all a lot of fun, you know? Like, I think
Yeah.
one thing I really want to reiterate for you guys is even if it's like shadow work, it's a little bit harder, or it's light work, like, we want it to be enjoyable for you, you know? Like, put on some incense, put on a candle, maybe be in a bath, maybe be in some lingerie. Yes, that is a vibe. But you know, like, dress cute for yourself, have a good time for yourself and then do this, you know, like make it a vibe, have a little self-care night, like enjoy it because the energy that you put into something is what you're going to get. And that's why this episode is so powerful in the first place because when you trust something, it's always going to work out.
Oh, I love it. So seriously, people, if you need to listen to this one again to
Mhm.
really just absorb it all, definitely do it. And in the meantime, you know where to find us. And we're always here to listen to your wins. If you ever want to drop them into our Ask Us account, we have a little form. You could just be like, this is what I noticed that I manifested for myself,
Yeah.
or this is something that came about in the last couple months since July. Like we want to hear what your wins are too and what's going on in your lives. So don't be afraid to drop a little comment, even on the video. And then where else can they find us, Sammy?
So you can find me at Sammy Roos underscore. I feel like at this point, you guys know how to spell my fucking name, and I'm it when I listen back on these podcasts. So you guys can find us there. And I had this cute little idea. So one thing that I do with my clients is I tell them, I'm like, okay, like when I give you homework, go ahead and tag me so that I know that you did it. So if you guys did your homework and you were thinking about what you manifest, I 10 out of 10 encourage you to post that shit on your story and tag me and Taylor so we can see your wins, dude. Like even if you put like a nice selfie or like a nice photo that you like of you or one that just like represents your energy, maybe it's like a flower, a candle, whatever you want it to be, but you should totally post that on your story and be like, I'm so grateful that I manifested whatever it is that you called in this year. Hype yourself up and tag us so that we can see, because I really want to celebrate you guys. Like I want to bring all of this energy into Instagram and into the other platforms as well so that you guys know you can always interact with us.
Yes. Oh my God, that's such a good idea. Do that. Do that, people. You heard the woman.
Tag Soul Sync too.
Yes, Soul Sync SB. You guys already know we're on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, or Ask Us. And then, if you want to follow my massage account, it's melt underscore ebb and flow NJ on Instagram. And yeah, I think this video had a lot of value to it. So if you want to send it to like some friends or anyone that needs to hear something like this too, definitely do that.
Yeah, and even better, do it with your best friend. Have a little girly night and do it together. You guys are gonna have so much fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right. Well, until next time, you beautiful humans.
We love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.